Grant Kobler, and I'm an agent here at Clay and Land Insurance. Dana and I originally planned to make this presentation at the summit in person, but as we know, plans changed, and we wanted to make sure that you guys were still able to view our presentation on how to prevent lost revenue due to catastrophic events. So I'll go ahead and get into it. Obviously, hurricanes, large windstorms, tornadoes, landslides and debris flow, thunderstorms and lightning, wildfires, and winter and ice storms. So we're not really accustomed to a couple of these here in Memphis, but the main ones that apply to us are definitely the large windstorms, thunderstorms and lightning, and winter and ice storms that typically affect us here in Memphis. So many business owners fail to conduct a proper risk assessment at least once a year. A risk assessment is one of the most important things a business owner can conduct to mitigate potential losses. Here are a couple tips on conducting a risk assessment, and you can always reach out to your insurance agent if you are not sure of the potential risks you face. So, conducting a thorough risk assessment is crucial for several reasons, especially when it comes to preventing potential losses and preparing for catastrophic events in businesses like restaurants. Identifying vulnerabilities. A risk assessment helps identify vulnerabilities within your restaurant's operations. By systematically evaluating your processes, assets, and external factors, you can pinpoint areas that are susceptible for various risks. Understanding potential threats. It provides a clear understanding of potential threats, hazards, including natural disasters and pandemics, financial downturns, and other emergencies. This awareness is essential for developing effective mitigation strategies. And consider the risks that are specific to your location as well. Risk assessments allow you to quantify the likelihood and potential impact of each identified risk. This quantification helps prioritize which risks require immediate attention and resources. By assessing these risks and their potential consequences, you can conduct a cost-benefit analysis to determine if investing in preventative measures such as insurance, emergency preparedness, and others is justified based on potential financial losses. Insurance providers often require businesses to conduct risk assessments to determine coverage and premiums. A well-documented risk assessment can facilitate smoother interactions with insurers and help you secure appropriate coverage. Regular risk assessments promote a culture of continuous improvement. By reviewing and updating your assessment periodically, you can adapt to evolving risk and improve your restaurant's resilience over time. Ultimately, the primary goal of conducting a risk assessment is to prevent or minimize losses. By proactively identifying and addressing risk, you can reduce the likelihood and severity of incidents that could harm your restaurant's revenue, reputation, or even overall success. In summary, conducting a risk assessment is a foundational step in risk management and disaster preparedness. It helps businesses like restaurants proactively address vulnerabilities, make informed decisions, and take actions to protect their assets, revenue, and long-term viability. With catastrophic events. So we all know the direct losses that come from these catastrophic events, such as property damage, but many fail to consider these indirect losses that may arise from these events. So loss of use, otherwise known as additional expenses, is, for example, moving your business to a temporary site or hiring temporary workers, which can occur after a catastrophic event. Food spoilage. So obviously if power is lost, there's a high possibility of food products spoiling, which can lead to thousands of dollars in losses. And the most important, in my opinion, business interruption. So after any catastrophic loss occurs, there's always a possibility for downtime when returning to business. So when a catastrophic event forces a restaurant to close temporarily, the immediate loss of revenue is a direct consequence. So the longer the closure, the more severe the indirect losses become. This includes the loss of loyal customers, erosion of market share, and even potential damage to your brand's reputation. So overall, to mitigate these indirect losses, it's essential to have a comprehensive disaster recovery and business continuity plan in place. This includes insurance coverage, financial reserves, and strategies for maintaining customer relationships during and after the event. So preparedness and resilience are key to minimizing the impact of indirect losses associated with catastrophic events. Types of insurance to consider. Business interruption insurance. One coverage most business owners need is business interruption insurance, also known as business income. It can help replace income when you can't open temporarily after a covered loss. So this coverage typically applies when a covered peril such as a natural disaster, fire, or other insured event forces the business to temporarily close or operate at a reduced capacity. So here are some key features of business interruption insurance. Business interruption insurance covers the income that your restaurant would have earned during that period of interruption. This helps ensure that you can continue to cover fixed costs like rent, utilities, and payroll even when your revenue is impacted. It also covers additional expenses incurred to maintain operations or minimize the loss. For example, if you need to rent a temporary location to keep serving customers during repairs, those costs can be reimbursed. There is typically a waiting period known as the deductible before coverage kicks in, typically ranging from 24 to 72 hours. This means that the interruption must last longer than that waiting period for the policy to respond. Business interruption has coverage limits, so it's essential to choose an appropriate coverage amount that matches your potential income loss. The policy will specify the covered perils or cause of loss. It's crucial to understand what types of events are covered and excluded. Coverage typically continues until your business is back to its pre-loss income level or until a specified time limit is reached, whichever comes first. Business interruption insurance is often purchased as part of a comprehensive commercial property insurance policy or an endorsement to an existing policy. So food spoilage. Restaurant insurance can include commercial property insurance, which has coverage for food spoilage. Food spoilage can typically happen to any food or beverage that needs cooling or heating. It can disrupt restaurants plus impact their bottom lines. It is also known as spoilage and contamination insurance, and it is a specialized type of coverage that applies to restaurants, grocery stores, and other food-related businesses. It provides compensation for financial losses incurred due to the spoilage or contamination of perishable goods, typically caused by equipment breakdowns or power outages. So this coverage reimburses you for the cost of perishable goods that have spoiled due to a covered event, such as malfunctioning refrigerator or freezer. It often covers losses resulting from equipment breakdown that lead to temperature fluctuations, which can cause spoilage. Like the other insurance policies, food spoilage insurance has coverage limits, and it's essential to choose an appropriate amount based on the value of your perishable inventory. Policies specify the cause of loss or events that trigger coverage. Common covered events include equipment breakdown, power surges, and mechanical failures. Similar to business interruption insurance, there is typically a deductible that must be met before coverage applies. Food spoilage insurance is a valuable addition for businesses, especially heavily reliant on perishable inventory, to ensure that they can recover the costs when unexpected events result in spoilage and losses. So both types of these insurance can be critical components of a restaurant's risk management strategy, providing financial protection and peace of mind in the face of an unexpected disruption or loss. It's essential to carefully review policy terms, conditions, and coverage limits to make sure they align with your specific needs and potential risks. Feel free to consult with an insurance expert to ensure adequate coverage for your specific needs. Most common indirect losses from a catastrophic event are power outages, which us Memphians are very familiar with. Here are some tips that one of our top restaurant insurance carriers, Society Insurance, gives to restaurant bar owners on what to do when the power goes out in your restaurant or bar. So understand your local regulations for power outages. Some areas will have specific regulations that bars and restaurants are expected to comply with in the event of a power outage. For example, there may be regulations that require you to close immediately when power goes out. Additionally, you may be required to wait for approval before reopening. Doing otherwise could potentially land you with a fine for noncompliance. Prepare and train your staff. Whether you walk each employee through your power outage plan during their training, or you just regularly touch bases with your whole staff, it's essential that everyone's on the same page during an outage. Regularly test your walk-ins. When you lose power, your refrigerators and walk-in coolers are critical tools for preventing losses. If your coolers don't seal tightly and warm air gets in, your food could spoil, leading to thousands of dollars in waste. Follow food labeling best practices. Even if your walk-ins and refrigerators keep your inventory cool enough during the power outage, you may still have to discard foods that would have expired at any rate. Without a food labeling system in place, you may not be able to easily determine which foods that would be. Consider buying a backup generator. We know a backup generator won't be able to power your entire operation, but if it can power your refrigerators and walk-ins during the downtime, it could save you thousands of dollars during an emergency. And keep physical copies of essential documents. During an emergency, you may need to access essential documents. Having physical copies available will be a lifesaver if you lose power, as your computers and POS systems will be down. So what would you do after your power goes out in your bar or restaurant? So after your establishment loses power, it's easy to panic. There are somewhat seems like a million things that need to be done right away, and it can get very overwhelming. To manage those moments effectively, focus on prioritizing your business's different needs, beginning with the safety of your staff and guests. An injury to your staff or guests could easily be more costly than any other impacts of the power outage. Therefore, it's essential to take immediate action to reduce the potential for harm. Turn off any kitchen equipment such as burners, ovens, or gas-powered equipment still in use. Without proper ventilation, your restaurant could quickly be filled with dangerous smoke and fumes if not done. Open doors and windows if necessary for ventilation. Communicate with your staff and guests, especially if your restaurant goes dark. Your guests will likely be confused and potentially worried or scared. Make sure not to cause any undue concern as you inform your guests about the outage. Additionally, communicate with your staff, delegate tasks to your employees, and have them help guests as they exit the restaurant. So what to do when your power comes back on? After the outage, there's more work to do before you're in the clear and ready to resume operations. So assessing food safety. Discard any foods that have spoiled or are at risk of spoiling. When in doubt, throw it out. Test your equipment. If the outage was prolonged over several days, there's potential that your system have been damaged due to the downtime. Ensure critical equipment like your heating and cooling systems, hot water heaters, and walk-in freezers are all working before your restaurant or bar resumes normal operations. Finally, if you are forced to close due to regulations regarding power outages, make sure you have approval to reopen before doing so. Communicate with your customers. Don't forget to provide updates on your social media accounts and let your followers know when you're ready to open and serve. Losing power in your restaurant or bar can be devastating. It puts your business's finances at risk, not to mention its impact on the livelihoods of you and your staff. Fortunately, by taking the right precautions, you can mitigate the impact that a power outage has on your businesses. One of the best ways to protect your business during a power outage is with service interruption insurance. So another strategy to prevent lost revenue due to catastrophic events would be keeping up with your building maintenance and safety. So a couple tips I have are regularly inspect and maintain your restaurant's building, install safety measures like fire alarms and sprinklers, and ensure that these are working properly. Continuously update and adapt your risk management strategies, develop fire and safety evacuation plans, comply with health and safety regulations, implement monitoring tools, and track risks and emerging threats. Stay informed about industry trends and best practices. Customer and staff safety is a huge part of preventing losses. The safety and well-being of both customers and staff should always be a top priority. A well-maintained and safe building reduces the risk of accidents, injuries, and health hazards, and ensures a positive and secure environment for all. Legal and regulatory compliance. Many local, state, and national regulations require businesses to maintain a safe and hazard-free environment. Failure to comply with these regulations can result in fines, legal liabilities, and even business closure. Risk mitigation. Regular maintenance and safety measures can help mitigate several risks such as fire hazards, electric problems, structural issues, and plumbing failures. This proactive approach reduces the likelihood of unexpected incidents that could disrupt operations and lead to financial losses. Insurance requirements. Insurance providers often require businesses to adhere to specific safety and maintenance standards. Failing to meet with these requirements may lead to coverage limitations or disputes in the event of a claim. Resilience to catastrophic events. During catastrophic events such as natural disasters, a well-maintained building is more likely to withstand damage, ensuring the safety of occupants and reducing property losses. In summary, building maintenance and safety are fundamental for protecting the well-being of individuals, complying with regulations, and minimizing risks overall. Investing in these areas are not only safeguards for your business, but also contributes to long-term success and sustainability. In conclusion, safeguarding your restaurant's revenue from catastrophic events is not just a prudent business practice, it's a necessity in today's unpredictable world. We've explored a comprehensive set of strategies and measures that can significantly reduce the impact of disasters on your restaurant's financial health. It's crucial to remember that while we cannot always predict or prevent catastrophic events, we can control how we prepare and respond to them. By taking proactive steps and adopting a holistic approach to risk management, you can protect your restaurant's revenue and ensure its long-term sustainability. There's a couple of key takeaways that I hope you got from this presentation, and the first one I'll start off with is risk awareness. Understand the potential threats and their financial implications for your restaurants. Insurance coverage. Invest in the right insurance policies to provide a safety net during challenging times. Emergency preparedness. Develop and regularly update a comprehensive emergency plan to ensure the safety of your staff and customers. Financial resilience. Build financial resilience by creating an emergency fund and diversifying your revenue streams. Supply chain resilience. Strengthen your supply chain to minimize disruptions during crisis. Customer engagement. Cultivate customer loyalty to maintain a steady flow of revenue even during tough times. Technology investments. Leverage technology for efficient operations and enhanced customer experiences. Staff training. Prepare your staff for emergencies and cross-train them to handle various roles. Building safety. Maintain your restaurant's safety measures to protect both people and property. Community engagement. Foster strong relationships with your community and neighboring businesses for mutual support during these tough times. Remember, disaster preparedness and resilience building are ongoing processes. Continuously monitor the evolving risks and adapt your strategies accordingly. By implementing these measures and staying committed to your restaurant's resilience, you can significantly reduce the impact of catastrophic events and ensure that your business not only survives but thrives in the face of adversity. We want to thank you for your attention, and we encourage you to take immediate action to protect your restaurant's revenue and future success. If you have any questions or need further guidance, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Together we can navigate the challenges and uncertainties ahead. This is our team that was initially going to come to the summit today. So Dana Sloyan, she had began working in the insurance industry in 1985 as a CSR and joined the Clay and Land team as a producer in 2018. Dana specializes in restaurants and contractors, and she insures restaurants all over the Memphis area. Grant Kobler, that is me. I started in the insurance industry right out of college with State Farm, went to the University of Memphis. I joined the Clay and Land team in March of 2023, and I specialize in both commercial and personal lines. Jean Wilkins, she started her insurance career in 1996. Prior to her moving to Memphis in 2009, she owned an independent agency in East Tennessee. Jean specializes in both commercial and personal lines. Jimmy McDonald. Jim joined Clay and Land in 2008 after serving as Vice President of McDonald Insurance from 1990 to 2006. Jimmy has been a certified insurance counselor for over 5 years and has over 20 years of experience in the insurance industry. He specializes in commercial insurance, and he also insures many restaurants in Memphis. This is our contact information, so please feel free to reach out to any one of us if you have any questions regarding restaurant insurance or insurance in general, any questions regarding potential risks you might face in your specific restaurant, or conducting a risk assessment. Thank you.